My first thought was, before you do this, number one, you know you're going to go serve overseas. You know you're going to be in a war, because the war was already going on.
Okay.
And I said, before you do this, you need to consider that, and you need to consider which branch you really want to go in. So I told him to go do interviews with all 4 branches, to select where he felt like he fit the best, and then we would discuss it, because I didn't want him doing it behind my back and then just joining something and go into it blindsided. That was my biggest fear. Then we went through it with the Marines a couple years later. He did a lot of soul searching. When he went into basic training, he was ready to go, and he has just excelled ever since, and I'm very proud of him. He made an early stripe in basic training ahead of his peers. He made an early stripe after he came out. I believe it's due to Afghanistan. He made an early stripe, and now he is leading a squadron. He just made, he's been Lance Corporal. I think he's getting ready to become Corporal, make a stripe. But he's in charge of a squadron that I think is when he went to basic, I think it was about 16 weeks, I can't recall for sure, but it's very intense. And he said that they were getting up at 4:30 every morning, and they start the routine, and when they were doing their survival training, there was no end in sight. These guys literally go through hell and back with the workouts that these guys go through. They don't just do regular push-ups, sit-ups. These guys are carrying heavy weight. They're having to practice fighting with weights. I think their package, the rucksacks, or the gear that they carry is close to 50 to 80 pounds, in addition to their own body weight, in addition to the weaponry that these guys have to carry. So they do a lot of... So after basic training, he was home for a couple of weeks, and then he went right into tech school. And tech school is where they learn all the analytical, the strategic, and a lot of the basic esprit de corps for the military. The bookwork is very intense, but along with the bookwork, of course, they're also doing their physical training. The Marines never get a release. They are always physically training. They are always going out into the field. They are always putting in 500%. And I think they're one of the hardest working groups of the military, much harder than the Air Force. We were spoiled. If we had to go out and do training, we stayed in a hotel and got paid to go. The Marines, they probably have to pay their wages, because I know Army does. They get pay deducted. They eat rations, and they live in tents. So it's a huge difference. For me, I'm glad I was in the Air Force. For my son, I think the Marines fits him. He loves it. He really loves it. There's things about it he doesn't always like, but you know, like he said, it's with any job, no matter what you do, he's a leader. He's a leader. And I think that when he went to Afghanistan, the leaders over him and his peers saw that in him, because he was put in quite often situations where he had to make command decisions, even as young a rank as he was. And because of the leadership qualities that he possesses and the respect that he gives and he believes should be given, and probably for whatever situations occurred over there, he made rank early over there. He was given a meritorious promotion, and he just made his rank. He just sewed it on. You know, there's formalities you go through to have it awarded, but he has that unique quality, and I think he's getting ready to pull his second tour this coming January, and I'm not thrilled about that. I need a breather. My mind just started churning, and I just couldn't filter the thoughts. I felt myself starting to hyperventilate. When he first went over there, I didn't hear from him probably the first 4 months. They were in an area where they didn't have a lot of communication. We didn't know what we could or couldn't send, and he was also not allowed to tell us where they were at. the few bits of time that he got, he was able to call his new wife and pretty much tell her what they needed, and that he loved her. That was it. And she would relay everything to me. What they needed most was baby wipes. Baby wipes. That's how the guys bathed. I teach fitness, and the girls that I'm with, they're a great group of women. I teach mostly women. And so, because I have developed such a camaraderie with these women, I asked if they could help me by purchasing baby wipes, any old magazines, sports. The guys wanted sports magazines. The women, man, they just brought in baby wipes like you wouldn't believe. They were always asking for that little bit of news about my son. It was just an amazing bonding. I mean, because most of them, they're mothers, they're grandmothers, they're sisters. It's like what my needs were to feed off for my son's well-being, they wanted to share that with me. It's so overpowering. The bond. It was a bond. I think it's a bond of only mothers and women that we understand.